The chicken dog.
Bells Artes?
Hi, and thanks for coming along with me. Today in the video, we're going to be doing a little walking tour of Mexico City. First, we're going to take the subway, then we'll go through a traditional market and end up in Chinatown and having a nice little lunch. The Mexico City subway system is excellent. I highly recommend if you are visiting town that you check it out. There's a whole little underground world in the subway. You can find bookstores, other shops, and it only costs 5 pesos or about 25 cents to ride it. You can buy an individual ride ticket from a window like this one that costs 5 cents, or you can go to the machine where for 20 pesos you can buy a card that's reusable, and then it still costs 5 pesos per ride. The subway system is quite clean. It's relatively new. It's only about 50 years old and very convenient to use. It does get quite busy. So my advice is if you are taking the subway during rush hour, you'll see times in which people are literally cramming themselves in or out of cars. And I would strongly recommend if you find yourself in that situation to just wait for the next car. I've seen it happen on a few occasions where people are packing themselves in to a car, and then the next car that comes is only a quarter full, and you can easily find a seat on the subway. Again, if you have taken subways in other cities, you'll want to use common sense, but it feels relatively safe and easy to use. My experience in Mexico City is that there are a lot of police. I would say it's the largest police presence I've seen of any major city, and the subways are no different. So this is Mercado San Juan, which is somewhat known for its availability of unusual meats, which you'll see a little bit here as we go through it. It also has a nice little restaurant area that features comida corrida, which is the sort of Mexican version of fast food, which is a pre-fixed menu that you usually get for between 40 and 80 pesos, so between $2 and $4. So this is kind of what you see people eating here. It's usually a 3 or 4 course meal that comes with a drink, but it's a prefix menu, so you get what you get. But the food is generally pretty high quality, and it's a really affordable meal and gives you really nice kind of Mexican experience if you find yourself in one of these markets. I would highly recommend you checking it out. The markets in Mexico City are really diverse. As you'll kind of see in this one, you can get everything from fruit to there's a place where a lady's doing her nails. There's a little arcade section where you can come and play foosball. Here's a guy carving up a carcass. And one of the cool things in this market is they have a place where you can buy tortillas by weight. So they have a little tortilla factory. I mean, I hate to call it a factory, but kind of a conveyor belt, almost like a Krispy Kreme for tortillas. And you can get fresh tortillas and buy them by weight. If you are really going crazy for some kind of cookout or barbecue or something, might be an option for you. But that's kind of a little neat thing to see, which is right here. And you can kind of see them. I assume that this is where a lot of the taquerias around town or the street carts probably come to get their tortillas. Then we actually cut out here kind of through a little bit of a back exit to avoid the crowds, and you can see sort of what parking looks like, which is primarily a few motorbikes and bicycles, which I assume is going to be for the people who sell in there, and then a few cars that probably used mainly for delivery. So then we walked down from the stop that we came to was Salto de Agua. You can also go to the Bellas Artes stop, and we're heading down into Chinatown. So the Chinatown in Mexico City is small. It's only about 2 blocks long, as you'll see, and it is pretty nice. I mean, it's for Chinatowns around the world. Again, it's not kind of gritty or, in a necessarily depressed part of town. It's actually right by Bellas Artes, which is one of the major landmarks of the city. So we went in what is ostensibly here the back exit. You'll see at the end they have sort of the traditional gate that you would see going into a Chinatown, and that gate is located right on the main road that runs in front of Bellas Artes, about 2 blocks down, right across from the park. So as you can see, it's clearly a Chinatown with the hanging lanterns and some hanging umbrellas, a few Chinese restaurants, and then people selling things on the street. The people selling things on the street, it looked like were mainly Mexicans, and the things that they were selling are mainly what you find by most street sellers around Mexico City, so not particularly unique to Chinatown, but there were some of the actual physical stores were selling Chinese products and looked to be Chinese owned, and you have a kind of a density of Chinese restaurants down here, but not a super huge or thriving Chinatown by any means. I wouldn't say that it's a must-see destination per se, but it's so close to Bellas Artes and some other destinations that you'll definitely want to check out while you're in Mexico City that you might as well swing by. This is actually both Tommy and I's first time coming through, so obviously it's not a high priority spot to check out, but kind of cool. If you see something that you do want to pick up, like most of Mexico City, these are all cash markets, so you're going to want to have some cash with you. If you don't, there's a Santander Bank. If you take a left coming out of Chinatown through the gates to the main road and walk away from Bellas Artes, a little ways down, there's the Santander Bank, and Santanders tend to have the lowest ATM fees. So if you need to pick up some cash, that's a fairly good option for you. Bellas Artes is closed right now, but if you do make the trek and you want to at least see the beautiful building that is housing the Bellas Artes, the best way to do so is by going to the coffee shop in Sears, which is right across the street. Well, you'll notice from ground level and any kind of pictures that you try and take from ground level, so there are a lot of cables for the streetcars that kind of obstruct your ability to get a really good photo of Bellas Artes. But if you get into the coffee shop in the Sears, which is right across the street, it looks right down on the Bellas Artes, and you can get a nice clear shot, and that's where you'll see all the cool pictures that people are taking. It's because they're going into the Sears and taking it from there and not trying to take it from ground level. After we finished up in Chinatown, we had kind of walked our way into a little bit of an appetite. So we headed to a super cool restaurant that's right in the area called La Opera. It was really affordable. I think it was like $2.50 US to get a beer there. And then I ended up getting a really tasty barbecue plate, which I think was like $11 or $12. And it's in a really historic building. that's super beautiful and is really kind of a landmark in and of itself. Unfortunately, as of February 2021, Mexico City is still under the orange light, so there wasn't any indoor seating. But by sitting outside, we got treated to a lovely concert by an amazing street performer who I will let it take away from here.
Ayer pedí que te murieras, que te cargara la tristeza, que todo el mundo te olvidara, para que nadie te quisiera, para que yo lo disfrutara. Ayer pedí con tanta fuerza que todo el mal que haya en la tierra sobre la espalda te cayera, para que yo lo disfrutara, para que tú lo padecieras. Ayer pedí que te murieras, porque te odio, la verás, pero ese idiota corazón es mucho más fuerte que yo. También me obliga a que me quiera. Estoy a punto de volverme loco, porque te amo como a nadie, porque jamás voy a arrancarme tus caricias de mi piel. Estoy a punto de volverme loco.